Hello students, I once again welcome you all for English class. In today's video, we will study about the lesson Mother's Day, written by J.B.Priestly. Mother's Day is a hilarious drawing room comedy by J.B.Priestly. It raises a serious issue and deals it in a humorous manner. The comic undertone, however, does not belittle the importance of the issues raised in the play. The play centers around Mrs. Annie Pearson, a devoted wife and doting mother. She is a pleasant but worried looking woman in her 40s. Her neighbor, Mrs. Fitzgerald, is a fortune teller. She tells Mrs. Pearson to make up her mind and assert herself if she wants to be the mistress of her own house and the boss of her own family. At present, Mrs. Pearson is reduced to the status of an unpaid domestic servant who does all the domestic chores without even being requested for them or thanked later on. She is taken for granted and ordered about. Mrs. Fitzgerald tells her that husbands, sons, and daughters should take notice of wives and mothers not giving them orders and treating like dirt. Mrs. Pearson endures the ill treatment because she is very fond of her husband and children, though they are quite thoughtless and selfish. She tries her best to have it out with them but does not know how to begin. She wants to get the things ready as the members of her family are about to drop in. Mrs. Fitzgerald asks her to let them wait or look after themselves for once. Since Mrs. Pearson is too soft towards her family, Mrs. Fitzgerald offers a way out. She suggests a change of personalities for a short duration. Mrs. Pearson is doubtful about the success of the plan but yields with the help of magic spell learned in the East. Mrs. Fitzgerald carries out an interchange of personalities. Now, Mrs. Pearson, having the personality of her neighbor, becomes bold and dominating, and Mrs. Fitzgerald is nervous and fluttering. Doris Pearson, a pretty girl in her early 20s, is the first to face the cool and incisive mother. As usual, Doris, the spoilt girl, asks her mother about her yellow silk dress. Mrs. Pearson keeps on smoking. Doris is astounded. However, she asks if they are having tea in the kitchen. Mrs. Pearson tells her politely to have it wherever she likes. Doris angrily asks her if it isn't ready. Mrs. Pearson tells her that she has had what she wanted. She surprises her with the remark that she might go out later and get a square meal at the Clarendon. When Doris angrily asks her mother again whether she has ironed her yellow silk dress, Mrs. Pearson tells her that she puts in twice the hours she does and gets no wages or thanks for it. She criticizes her boyfriend Charlie Spence of having buck teeth and being half-witted. She tells Doris frankly that at her age she would have found somebody better than Charlie Spence. Now it is the turn of Siral Pearson, the spoilt brat, who asks for tea as soon as he enters. Since he has got a busy night that night, he asks his mother if she has put his things out. He reminds her of her promise. She tells him that she doesn't like mending. He objects to her talking like that. Mrs. Pearson gives him a bit of her mind. She tells him that they all do talk like that. If there is something at home he doesn't want to do, he doesn't do it. If it is something at his workplace, he gets the union of the bar. She says that she has also joined the movement. She then asks if they have any stout left. She goes to the kitchen to bring a bottle as she wants to drink. Cyril and Doris go into a huddle and whisper about the behavior of their mother. Doris states that she could not believe her eyes as she found her mother smoking and playing cards when she came in. Cyril had asked her if she was feeling off color and she said she wasn't. Doris observes that she is suddenly all different. She made her cry, not Ellie, by what she said, by the way she said it and looked. Doris thinks that she has a conclusion as a result of falling. Cyril asks if she has become slightly crazy. Meanwhile, Mrs. Pearson comes back. She is carrying a bottle of stout and half filled glass. Cyril and Doris try to stop their guffawing and giggling. If Pearson regards them with contempt and asks them to behave according to their age, she finds nothing funny in their jokes. Doris is cheerful again. She wants to know what they have done. Mrs. Pearson at once tells them that they have done nothing. They simply came in, ask for something, go out and again, and then come back when there is nowhere else to go. Cyril tells her aggressively that he will find something to eat himself if she won't get tea ready. Mrs. Pearson says that she has also done her 8 hours. She further says that now it will be 40-hour week for all and she will have her 2 days off at the weekend. George Pearson, a solemn, self important, and pompous looking man about 50, enters. He notices Doris in tears and then his wife sipping stout. He is bewildered at her behavior. He informs her that he won't have any tea as there is a special snooker match at night at the club and bit of supper. Mrs. Pearson informs him that there isn't any tea. He is surprised at the answer. She tells him that people laugh at him at the club and call him Pompey Ompy. Pearson because he is slow and pompous. George is horrified. She wants to know why he wants to spend so much time at a place where they are always laughing at him behind his back and calling his name. He leaves his wife alone at home each night. George is dazed and asks Cyril for confirmation. He staggers as Cyril confirms it. Cyril tells his mother that he is not fair of her to hurt his or her father's feelings. Mrs. Pearson remarks that sometimes it does people good to have their feelings hurt. The truth ought to hurt anybody for long. If he didn't go to the club so often, perhaps people would stop laughing at him. Cyril doubts his mother, tells him that he knows nothing. He spends a lot of time and money at greyhound races, dirt tracks, and ice shows. Mrs. Fitzgerald is at the door. Cyril calls her silly old bag. Mrs. Pearson tells him to ask her in and address her properly. Mrs. Fitzgerald is shocked to see how Mrs. Pearson is treating her husband and children. George re-enters and sits aside in armchair smoking his pipe. Mrs. Pearson takes George to ask for being impolite. George flares up as she rebukes him in the presence of their neighbor. He asks her if she has gone mad. Mrs. Pearson threatens to slap his face if he says that again. George is intimidated. She mockingly asks him to leave for the club. With this explanation, we have come to the end of this drama.